Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today we're going to be changing the oil and the oil filter in a Mini Cooper. So these are the filters we're going to be using. We're going to be using the Bosch one in this particular job, but that's the model number, but you can also get other makes as well. That's a man filter there, and that's the model number for that one. And the oil we're going to be using is this one here. So it's a Mini Cooper. What model is this, Dave?
It's a 2013 Mini Cooper 2-litre diesel.
2-litre diesel, and this is the SD, is it?
It's the SD.
SD, right, okay. So, yeah, what we're going to be doing is, rather than going to the bottom and taking out the sump plug and letting the oil drain out, we're actually going to be sucking the oil out of the dipstick because it's a lot easier, and a lot of the professionals are doing this now. Some of the old school people say it's not as good as draining it all out, but some cars are actually designed where the low point in the sump will be where the dipstick is, so you can actually get nearly 99% of the oil out. And the oil filter lives in here. You can see there that it's got the torque setting on there as well. The engine has been running for about 20 minutes, so the oil is nice and hot. Make sure that the oil is warm when you do this because it flows a lot better when you're sucking it out of the dipstick. Let's get started. Now, we're not professional mechanics, but we do like to do the jobs ourselves, just purely to save money on the servicing costs. Right, and to take the oil out, we're going to be using this Sealy vacuum oil and fluid extractor. I think it costs about £50 from places like eBay and Amazon, and it comes with a variety of hoses. You need to get the hose that will fit your dipstick hole. So if we have a look down here, you can see it's quite wide, so I'm going to use this one here. This will fit easily down it. You get a medium-sized one and a thin one with it, and then we have this bigger one here. So this is going to go into the extractor like so, and then we're going to plug this one into here like that, and then we're going to put this into the dipstick. Okay, so we're going to take the dipstick out. Make sure you've got some old cloths with you, or old t-shirts, whatever you're using, because you don't want the oil dripping everywhere. Now, this particular car takes how much, what's the...
5.2 litres.
5.2 litres, so we're going to hopefully get out 5.2 litres and put in 5.2 litres. But what we're going to do is we're going to see, because we've already measured on the dipstick, it's about 3 or 4 mil under the max, so whatever we take out we're going to put back in. So if we take out 5 litres, we're going to put back in 5 litres. Right, so we're going to put the dipstick to one side, and now we just get the hose and we're going to shove it right the way down until it won't go any further. Now, sometimes when you're putting it down you can feel quite a bit of resistance. Right, so right now I've gone down as far as I can go, and now all we have to do is build up the vacuum on here, and you will see in a minute the oil will start coming out of the tube there. And now we just leave it and we let it fill up. After a few minutes or so, we might have to give it another few pumps just to get the vacuum going again. But bit by bit, you will now see that the oil will fill up, and each one of these is 1 litre. So that'd be 1 litre, 2 litres, 3 litres, 4 litres, 5 litres. So I'm hoping it's going to go up to around here. If it doesn't, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this pipe here to the smaller one, because I think I'm at the bottom of the sump, but I can't be sure. But if I'm getting 5 litres out, then I'm happy. So we're going to let that run now, but just to make it easy, I'm just going to take off the oil filler cap here. And now it should allow the whole oil to drain out. Just to show you what the filter looks like while that's coming out, it's one of these ones here where you just change the inside of them. So in here we should have this, and we've also got an O-ring down the bottom. So it's very simple to change. We're just going to do like for like. It's always a good idea to change the O-rings because you don't want to put it all back together, fill it with oil to realise you have a leak. Right, so it seems to have stopped at the 3 litre mark, or it's definitely slowed down, so I'm just going to give it another few pumps now. And there we go, you can see now it's starting to come through again. So you do have to pump it up. You can't just walk away from it, you will have to pump it up. You can see it's going up quite quickly now. Right, okay, so as you can see we've got a lot out here. Don't be fooled, it's not all the way up there. If you look around here, this is a level here. But we still have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 we've nearly got 6 litres come out of it, so that's definitely 5 3/4, so about 5,750 millilitres come out of it. Now, according to the internet, this car was supposed to take 5.2 litres of oil, but it's very hard to get the specification for different cars. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put back in 5.2 litres, because on the dipsticks this looks fine, but I'm just going to put in 5.2 litres back into it, and then we'll see what it's like on the dipstick. And if it's around about the halfway mark, we're going to leave it at that. If it's a bit low, then I'm going to put in 5.75 litres, because that's what's come out of it, and the car's been working fine. And on the dipstick it was just under the maximum mark, a few mil under the maximum mark. So that's what I mean by we want to monitor how much comes out, just in case the information that we've got to fill up the car is incorrect, or it could have been overfilled previously. And now we're going to take the tube out because we've left it for a while, it's not filling up anymore. I'm just going to clean it as we go because I want to keep this as clean as possible. There you go, as you can see, there's no spillage of oil anywhere, so it's a nice neat job. And what we're going to do is, after we fill up the car with oil, we're then going to pour this back into the old container so we can take it down to the local tip to dispose of it properly. Okay, so the oil filter is housed in this unit here, and on this one we're going to be using a 27mm socket to undo it. And although I'm using this, you can also use an adjustable spanner. It doesn't take much force to get this off. There we go, you can see there, it's only plastic into plastic. So I'm just going to loosen it off to begin with. I'm going to struggle to get a cloth underneath it, so it might make a little bit of a mess when I actually come to take it off. Right, so I'm just leaving it at that for the time being. I'm going to do the rest by hand. Right, I'm just going to leave it drip there for a while so the oil, you can see the oil's dripping out the bottom. If you look down there, it's actually coming out quite fast at the very bottom there. It's hard to see because I haven't got a torch. But just let the filter drip away, because otherwise it's just going to make a mess everywhere. Right, so I'm going to hold it here for a minute or two. I'll fast forward through this part of the video. Right, okay, so I've left that now for a couple of minutes, and although drips are still going to come out of it, you can see now it's a lot cleaner than if we just pulled it straight out. So now I'm just going to have to grab hold of it and just work it loose. Like that. Okay, and you see, make a note of this bit here, goes at the bottom. Okay, so just remember how it came out. If you're unsure, remember you can always get someone to take a picture and then you know what it's going to be like. I'm just going to dispose of that in the bag here. Right, so I've changed my gloves now to save getting everything filthy. And if you have a look here, in the pack here, they've given us an O-ring and also a copper washer. We won't be using the copper washer because that would be if we were to undo the sump plug at the bottom. But remember, we sucked all the oil out off the dipstick, so we don't need to use that. But we do need to use the O-rings. If you have a look here, you can see that the O-ring on this one is around this part here, so you need to remember where it goes, because as soon as you take it off it's kind of confusing where you put it back on. So I know that I've got a gap here, and then like on the second ring there I've got the O-ring, so that's where I'm going to be putting it. So let's pop the new O-ring on it. So what we're doing is we're just going to use a little flathead screwdriver, and nice and gently I'm just going to get it out like that. And it just comes out so easy. I'm going to dispose of that, and now we're going to get the new one on. So you can see the groove it goes in. It's the nice big groove here. That's it. And I'm just going to smear a bit of oil on it again. Now we're ready to put the filter on. We've got a nice new filter here, and we're just going to pressure fit it into here. So remember, this bit was at the bottom, so we're just going to insert it in using a bit of force. There we go, and you can see it's gone in all the way, so now I can't push it in anymore. And now we're just going to screw it back in. It's To begin with, we're just doing it hand tight so we make sure we don't cross thread it. Right, and I'm going to do the rest now with the spanner, just give everything a nice clean up. Okay, so we're going to put this back on now. I'm only going to do this just up to a certain point because I do want to torque it. So I can't do it by hand anymore because my hands can't physically fit around it. So I'm just going to do it with the spanner and then I'm just going to torque it for the last little bit. So you can see how easy it's going on. So I'm just going to nip it up. There we go, so that's nipped up now. Now I'm going to torque it. Right, so on this torque wrench here, it only goes down to 28. So I'm on 0 at the moment on 28. So I'm just going to have to move it backwards 3. So I'm going to go to 12, so that's going to be 2, and then one more 3. So now we're at 25. So, but if you haven't got a torque wrench, it's really not necessary. All you've got to do is just do it until it just nips up and then just a tiny bit more. 25 Newton meters is a very little amount, and you can tell that because the torque wrench doesn't even go down that low. So you don't have to necessarily go out and get a torque wrench. So now I'm just going to just do it and the torque wrench will go. There we go. You can hear it, listen to it. So now I know that I am at 25 Newton meters. So that basically is the oil filter done. All we now need to do is get a funnel in and put in our 5.2 litres of oil, and we're going to see where it comes to on the dipstick. Right, so this is the oil we're going to be using, and this is long life oil. Okay. Got my funnel in there, and nice and gently I'm going to pour it in on its side. It seems to go in a little bit nicer when you do it on its side like that. And in this is 5 litres, so I'm going to put the whole 5 litres in to begin with. I'm just going to let that all drain in, get every last drop out. Okay, so this is another leftover one now. We put the whole 5 litre in from the other one, and if you have a look here, there looks to be around about 300 to 400 mil in there. So I'm just going to put in what I guesstimate to be about 200 mil. So I'm going to be left with around about 100 mil at the bottom of this. Right, there we go. I'm happy with that. That looks to be about 5.2 litres. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the cap back on and we're going to put the dipstick back in, and we're just going to turn the car over to let the oil circulate round the oil filter. So we're going to let it run for a few minutes and then we're going to let it sit for a while. In that meantime, I'm going to change the air filter, but that's going to be on a different video. I'm also going to do the cabin filter, you know, the pollen filter. That's going to be in a different video. So if you're interested in how to do that, please check out the other videos on my channel. And then once it's sat for about 5-10 minutes, I'm then going to take a reading on the dipstick, and hopefully it should be somewhere in between the minimum and the maximum. Okay, so everything's nice and clean. I'm going to put the cap back on. Like that, and now I'm going to get the dipstick and put it back in all the way. There you go. Everything's sealed again now, so it's safe to turn the engine back on. Okay, so now we let the car run for a bit and then we let it sit for a bit, and if you have a look now, you can just about make out you've got the min mark down here and the max mark there, and right now we're just over halfway, so I'm happy with that. Okay, so we've now checked the dipstick, we're happy with that. So we've changed the oil and the oil filter. Now what we have to do is we have to reset the service interval, because every time we go into the car, it's reminding us that we need to do the service. So let me just show you that. So I'm going to put the key in here. Now I'm not going to put my foot on the clutch. Normally you have to put your foot on the clutch to start the car. I'm just going to hit the start stop. And there, can you see it's come up with service? So now I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. I'm going to hold in this button here for 5 seconds. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and there you go, it's brought up this menu here. Now every time I hit in here the BC, it's going to scroll around for the different options. So we want to get to the oil can that we've just passed. So we've got the oil can there. Now what we need to do is we need to hold this in for a few seconds. So I'm holding this in now. You can see there it was supposed to be done 08/2017, and it's asking me to reset. So again, I'm going to hold this in now. So I'm holding it in. And now can you see there's a little clock moving around? And there we go. So there you go, nice and simple to do. Now I'm just going to show you a few of those symbols in the book here so you understand what each of them mean. If you have a look here, you can see the English is this column down here, and these are the symbols. So I'm just going to scan out there, and you can pause it, and you can then check, for example, this one here, if that flashed up, it means your front brakes need doing. The only one that's not in this book here is the MOT one. So there you go, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care, bye now.